In today's society, where technology and the internet seem to dominate our daily lives, a new villain has entered our consciousness. The hacker is feared by many, but respected by few. Everyone seems to know who hackers are and what they do, but there is a major misconception about hackers that nobody seems to pick up on. It all began in the 1960s at MIT. Origin of the term hacker meant extremely skilled individuals who practiced hardcore programming. Hackers are defined as being an expert at programming and solving problems with a computer, and the other being a person who illegally gains access to and sometimes tampers with information in a computer system. In the 1970s, Captain Crunch devised a way to make free long-distance calls, and groups of phone hackers emerged. The first major computing networks were, of course, the telephone networks. A group of these hackers, called the Homebrew Computer Club, started making blue boxes, which were used to hack into phone systems. The two founders of Homebrew were men named Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. During the early 1980s, a group called the 414s is one of the earliest hacker groups to ever get raided by the FBI, and they get charged with 60 computer intrusions. Usenets began to pop up around the nation, and hackers exchanged thoughts using their Unix-based machines. During the 1990s, the most famous hacker at the time, Kevin Mitnick, is arrested after being tracked down by Shimamura, who is a security expert. The trials of Kevin Mitnick were of the most publicized hacker trials in hacker history. Hackers have developed methods to exploit security holes in various computer systems. As protocols become updated, hackers probe them on a never-ending mission to make computing more secure. When hacking first originated, the urge to hack into a computer system was based purely on curiosity. Curiosity of what the system did, how the system could be used. Through this, hackers have become the superheroes of the web. However, that's not all they do. Hackers find and release the vulnerabilities in computer systems which, if not found, could remain secret and one day lead to the downfall of our increasingly computer-dependent civilization. In a way, hackers are the regulators of electronic communication. Hackers come up with useful new computer systems and solutions to make life easier for all of humanity. People in our modern society tend to stereotype hackers as well. All hackers aren't 300 pounds overweight, 5'5", wearing glasses and suspenders, scrawny, pale-skinned. If you think this, you are wrong. Hackers are black, white, Asian, European, tall, short, socially active. They are not the enemy, and all of this was about to change. Edward Joseph Snowden is born in Elizabeth City, America. He developed a fascination with computers and technology and socialized with a tight circle of friends who were similarly interested in the internet and Japanese anime culture. He also registered on the TechNet website, a hacking and technology forum. Snowden would go on to be hired by the CIA as a technician expert and receives a top secret clearance. Snowden is posted in Geneva, Switzerland, under diplomatic cover as an IT and cybersecurity expert for the CIA, a position that gives him access to a wide array of classified documents. He later tells The Guardian that during this period he became delusional. Edward Snowden finds out that the government can hack into your smartphone and see everything. Snowden begins sending some documents to the Washington Post. The Guardian and the Washington Post each published an article about the NSA program, which forces the biggest US internet companies to hand over data on domestic users. Snowden leaves Hong Kong with a planned stopover in Russia, but he is stranded in the international airport in Moscow. After the US authorities signed his passport, he is granted temporary asylum in Russia as they consider his application for permanent political asylum. After this happened, Snowden highlighted something very important about the world, the governments, and hackers, and really opened society's mind about who was the enemy. I myself have participated in a very well attended debate on whether hackers were a national resource, which is, in my opinion, or whether they are the enemy. It is the media's fault that hackers are seen in this light, and it is the fault of the US Secret Service, and it is the fault of certain governments around the world who treat hackers as a threat. They didn't understand the electronic environment that hackers were addressing. Hackers are the pioneers in this electronic frontier. They are way out in front of the rest of the world. They are seeing the dangers, the vulnerabilities, the unethical, inappropriate business behavior by communications and computing companies. They're basically saying, hey, look what we found, and everyone wants to shoot the messenger. There is an amazing book called The Second Self, Computers and the Human Spirit. It was about the original hackers. The original hackers were MIT students, selected by MIT as the best and the brightest in the nation. They began discovering that there were new and unusual things that you could do with computers. Hacking is about exploring. It is about finding new corners in cyberspace. A good hack is about doing something better that's never been done before. You can't create a hacker. Hackers are born. They are very special people. When the Israelis catch a hacker, they give him a job. When the Americans catch a hacker, they kick him in the teeth and throw him in jail. Hackers have come of age. Hackers are now a power unto themselves. As a community, not an illegal community, not an unethical community, but as a community of vibrant knowledge. All of these hackers that we deal with today were growing up in the internet where it was more open. 10, 15 years ago, they were at home on the computer, and most of us learned what's right and what's wrong from our parents. That didn't take place on the internet. And now we have an industry coming in and saying, we need to make this secure, and you shouldn't do this because it hurts other people. And that creates a problem for the hackers that are out there. Hackers are a problem for business and for my personal use of the internet, because they raise the cost of having me to access it. It raises the cost of doing business, and that's a concern. But on the other side, young hackers have a problem because we're taking away something that they feel at this point is theirs, something that was open and free. I think the first misconception that people have about hackers is that it's a giant political party, and it's not. It's like asking, what do people think about carpenters? It's a very loosely defined group of people. In fact, we can't even seem to agree on a definition of hacker most of the time. It implies curiosity and looking at how you use tools in different ways, and how you can think of new tools to extend people's abilities to do things. They're exploring new territory, and of course, when you're exploring new territory, some people are going to cut down all the trees and screw up the environment, and other people are going to catalogue all the wildlife and create a very useful scientific resource. Hackers are the ones breaking the rules, and we're being cracked down on the government. Now the government are the ones breaking the rules, and the hackers are cracking down on them. Over the course of 60 years, they switched roles, and being a hacker became free speech.